Hello, welcome to the Trews. I'm Russell Brand, host of the Trews. It was inevitable after 170 odd episodes of the Trews that eventually I would become the Trews today.
Comedian Russell Brand has apparently voiced his desire to succeed Boris Johnson as the Mayor of London.
Today we want to address the media speculation surrounding the release of my book Revolution, where I talk about things like sharing money, alternative economic systems, and the media response to it. Let's have a look at some of the coverage.
The Mail on Sunday claimed Brand has told close friends he wants the role in 2016. A spokeswoman for the comic and actor has refused to comment on the story.
So, people have refused to comment. I've said I'm not doing it. Close friends have said I am. That's media language for, we made this up. Even when I went on Jonathan Ross, I tweeted the next day, watch the interview, then read the press the next day so you can see the difference. There's a bit on Jonathan Ross though where I go, pay your tax, you slags. Before that I said Vodafone, Starbucks, Boots, pay your tax, you slag. Why can't they put that on ITV, I wonder? Have a look at this interview of LBC, because then you can just see me talking normally about the issues in this book.
When I say something, either it will resonate or it won't. And if it doesn't resonate, it doesn't matter. And if it does resonate, then that's not about me. It's about what I'm saying. If I'm saying there's no one representing ordinary people in our political class at the moment, if ordinary people go, no, there is, I really like, for example, Ed Miliband, or no, David Cameron speaks for me, then it doesn't matter what I say. The reason there's so much noise is because what I'm saying is resonating with ordinary people. So whilst, of course, I'm a human, so if I see myself criticised in a paper or something, I go, oh, I was trying my best to write a book and I've been criticised. I'm a stand-up comedian and this is just heckling.
What's surprising when you're at the centre of a media onslaught is you first-hand know what you're saying and can see how it's misrepresented. You know, like the book, I spoke to proper experts like Thomas Piketty, David Graeber, Noam Chomsky, and in there they're sort of outlining in a way that you can understand without having to go to Eton first. I talk about how to run co-ops, direct democracy, and examples of it in places like Porto Alegre in Brazil, drug regulation in Portugal and Switzerland, a way of relieving poor people and ill people of the additional burden of the criminalisation of drug addiction, climate change action, stuff from Naomi Klein about how we have to organise to in any way oppose energy giants, measures to redress economic inequality, using examples from activists all over the world like David de Groot, one of the pioneers of the Occupy movement, and worker-run corporations, like a way that workers can have more interaction, whether that's on the board or in running entirely the places where they work. So it's like countless examples of actual proper policies, but the things that come up as a result of the book being released are like, oh, he says 9/11 was an inside job. Look at the book itself. I'm not saying 9/11 was an inside job. Literally the opposite. He wants to run for mayor. I've not said anything of the sort. It's amazing that in a situation where if you raise the subject of inequality, if you attack the interests of the media and of big business, it's really interesting to see how politicians and the media work together. Take, for example, Boris Johnson, who made a very clever and funny statement on the subject of whether or not I should stand for mayor.
Let's have a listen to what Boris had to say.
I want to see him come forward. You know, I think it's very, very important that we have a very, very wide choice of candidates, and I would certainly welcome the addition of Russell or indeed anybody else to the fray. But, you know, there's a worrying silence since yesterday. We know how long can it go on before we have a formal declaration of his candidacy? It's been almost 12 hours since the story broke, and I'm worried that things aren't developing.
Boris Johnson is funny and affable and does have lovely hair, so you can see why he's a successful politician. But the reality of Boris Johnson is quite different.
Like, while he's joking like that, normal people are being turfed out of their homes all over London. We've got the disgrace of a building where normal people ordinary social tenants are forced to use a door around the back of the building while people that pay market rates for rent can go in through the front. We've got a housing crisis in London. We've got protesters turning up at Earl's Court because ordinary Londoners can't afford to live in this city. People that thought they had good jobs, people who did what they was told, went to school, got the degree, paying back student loans that they were told they wouldn't have to pay back. People are getting lied to on a massive level. So it's good that Boris Johnson's having a laugh, but he's the Mayor of London and he should be focusing on looking after the people of London like he was elected to do.
Boris Johnson is the consummate politician. He's likeable, but more importantly, he represents the interests of the super powerful. And the interests of the super powerful in politics and in media and in the corporate world all line up nicely. E.g., Boris Johnson, Mayor of London, had 5 times more meetings with city bankers than public meetings conversations with ordinary Londoners in his first term. He objected to a small increase on rich people's taxes by 5%, saying it's not economically sensible. His attitude towards the city and to financial elites, that we ordinary people should be offering our humble and hearty thanks for their prodigious contributions to our public finances. Boris Johnson, whose views, opinions and policies chime with the economic elites that run this country, when he announced that he was returning to Parliament, look at how the mainstream media responded. The Sun, Bojo is a go-go. The Financial Times, Boris bombshell lights up Westminster. Daily Mail, Boris fever. We welcome the London Mayor's determination to return to Westminster. The Daily Telegraph, for whom he works, it should warm the heart of every Tory voter. The Daily Express, Boris Johnson is now on his way to political greatness. The important thing for us to recognise, and the thing that's become highlighted to me while this book has been released, is that the media and big business and politicians work in harmony. This is perhaps one of the reasons why Lord Rothermere and Rupert Murdoch own between them 50% of the UK press. Over 3/4 of the UK press is owned by a handful of billionaires. So their interests, of course, chime with the rich and the powerful. They are rich and powerful. I've looked at some of the stuff that's been said about me, and what's extraordinary is it's an amplification of trivia, a total deluge of personal attacks, and completely ignoring the things that are actually significant and important. The stuff I've written about the housing crisis, the New Era campaign, the Carpenter Estate campaign, London being socially cleansed, no affordable housing, issues that affect ordinary people.
Has he got a chance?
Odds of 200 to 1 making the absolute rank outsider would say probably quite a slim chance, if any chance at all.
Right.
Look at what politics has become. Look at how it's spoken about. They're not taking it seriously.
I mean, do voters like these sort of non-politician candidates?
I think they like listening to them, they like sort of hearing what they have to say, but when it comes to either voting for them or putting their hard cash on a bet for them to win, I think that's where the support stops. So he makes a good headline. I don't think anyone's going to risk much money at all on him to actually be voted Mayor of London in 2016. I mean, if you look at some of the other non-politicians on my board...
I like that he's got so much faith in his own board. Well, if you look at some of the other non-politicians on my board, he'd done that board himself. What credit has it got? And how come it so quickly turned into sort of gambling? It's such a ludicrous proposition. The whole thing. Tessa Chow, Lord Sugar, who sounds like Willy Wonka's enemy, David Beckham. That's an absurd chalkboard of madness.
You'll see that we think David Beckham and indeed Lord Sugar have a much better chance than Russell Brand, but generally speaking these are the kind of people that it's lots of fun to hear from them in the media if indeed they do run, but when it comes to the serious matter of voting and betting on these things...
Serious matter of voting and betting. Stop it! I'm thinking of placing a bet. I'll have £5 on Lord Sugar to be Mayor of England.
Why are people so interested in these non-politician candidates? I mean, is it just about celebrity?
I think there's something to do with that as well.
Boris Johnson's presided over this massive housing crisis. He's reneged on his promises to support environmental measures. He's totally in the hock of big business, and they're just mucking about with a chalkboard.
Something that might shed a bit of light onto it. His book he's promoting at the moment, that's the third favourite to be the Christmas #1 book. Odds of that quite short, odds of being the mayor quite long, so that should tell you everything you need to know.
Right, I don't think that's going to be on David Blunkett's Christmas list.
I'm trying not to be motivated by personal offence. Like, why are you being so rude for? I've written a perfectly nice book. All I want to do is involve ordinary people in the debate around politics, to encourage people to say, hey, don't be despondent, don't worry that there's ecological meltdown and massive inequality, because there is a chance we could change things. The people that are being naive, the people that are being ridiculous, are the people that are saying it can't change. So the truth is, you can't trust the difference between big business and media is there is no difference. I'd rather that you read this book yourselves and took control of your own political lives by organising lateral organisations in the places where you live, in the places where you work. That's what this book is about. Simply taking back political power in your own lives, not trusting the media, not trusting politicians. That is some true news. Subscribe here to True News, True News.
Is a tool that is abused to fool you and to leave you scared and confused. Trews is like the news. If the news was true, I want some Trews. Let's have some Trews.